Welcome to the Community Breakfast Show today, 16th November 2021. We will be your hosts, Dipora Mshala and Alex Shimba. Today we will be joined by Dr. John Kunda, ZESCO Senior Corporate Affairs Manager, and we'll be discussing issues surrounding ZESCO and electricity supply in Zambia. And we're also going to be later joined by Mr. Shadrack Mwanza, who is Kalikiliki Ward Councillor, who is going to talk about floods. Alex?
Good morning, Madam Zipporah, and I hope you're having a great day so far. How are you doing? I'm
good. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm expectant for today's show. Obviously, we're going to unpack a lot of issues that are concerning the citizens across the country. So this is where we get just to do community, strict community, and we hope that the people will be able to contribute and ask a lot of questions, because this is something that is actually critical to them. So, but before we just get into the meat of everything, I think we need to stretch a bit. What do you think?
I think so. So what does that bring us to?
Morning boost. Let's do this. Thank you.
Camnet viewers, and welcome to a quick morning wake out. This is very good for you as you're working on your heart, you're working on your body to burn some fats in the body. Let's do this. It's going to be very basic. You have exercised before, you've never done it. This is the show for you. So let's go. A warm-up is very good for you. Let's do a warm-up. So you march, that's your warm-up. I'm started with my left leg. And very soon I'll start now introducing the moves we're gonna do for this morning. Let's go. So that was just your warm-up for you. We're gonna do the workout now. Okay, let's go. Last one. And change. Matching. So that is very basic for you. I'm gonna combine the 4 moves together now, and then you're done with your morning workout. So do a matching, jumping jacks, and we're gonna punch some punches now. Okay, last one, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's put them together now. Let's go. and marching. Okay, so you've done that, and then now you're going to do a little bit of squats. Okay, so we're gonna do 40 of them. Open your stance, make sure that your back is well aligned. So I'm gonna do some squats now here. Watch me. 10 of them. Okay, let's go. That's 10. $20. $30. Last 10. And 10. All right, that's it for today, and I'll see you again for another morning quick workout. Make sure that you tune in. This has been Isaac, your presenter, and I'm signing out.
There you have it. I hope you were doing one or two things from the morning boost. You know, it's important just to keep yourselves fit. As you can see, I'm even, my tie is even out of shape. I don't know. Am I still okay? Am I still okay?
Because you're exercising, right?
Yeah,
we were following the exercise.
So
we had the good exercise this morning.
It's always beautiful having it a bit active before you start your day, because it's going to be a busy Tuesday, I'm sure. What are you having in the headlines, Zipporah?
Okay, so now we look at zooming the headlines, and our first item on the community desk, stories making headlines. We have a story from Kanyama compound where yesterday we saw the vice president going to that place due to the perennial issue of floods. Kanyama gets flooded, houses get half submerged in water during floods. And the vice president, Madam Mutalena Lumango, expressed concern over this perennial issue. Year after year, we have the same issue of floods, which never gets sorted out. So yesterday, they went to see some structures which were constructed on drainages. And this has been given as one of the major causes why this area has got floods. Instead of a drainage, we've got a structure on top of a drainage. And so just take a look at that story, which was done by Madam Prudence Chota, and take a look at what happened in Kanyama yesterday.
You block this drainage, meaning that must go no outlet. So muzapanga ma drainages yonse no outlet muzapereka kuti. So this is the main drainage amenita chani ifunika kuipange with immediately before the rainy season, at least here in Kanyama nishitwangala ku safe side. Without pange tuzavuti, I'm telling you.
These are the complaints made by some residents of Lusaka's Kanyama compound who have for several years been affected by the rains that flood most parts of the area. The residents have complained that the matter has been reported to the authority on several occasions, but that those in authority seem to be working with the people behind the illegal constructions.
So the government bakatika bwati boti gumule penzolesa bene mamara batenga ndrama batenga ndrama pasa manje bamene ba PF ba defender pamalo as a result bantu bamkombo nje bavutika. So since apakobula new government, at least baona ba vice president baona utapa the problem abene mamara bakuchosa malo haso tu bantu bangale safe side na manzi sifwa mvula ntabe ya mvula pa ya bwera. So automatically se drainage utingale clear mushe sifuna kuisha district mangira manyumba mu drainage.
And Vice President Mutalena Lumango Monday took time to visit Kanyama compound to establish what the problem is with regards to flooding challenges and why the construction of proper drainage systems have delayed in the area.
None of us should feel so innocent. Those that build in wrong places, some build with the council support by giving them plots in wrong places, including business entities. That is the beginning. Another sad part is that this situation has not just started. Some buildings, Honorable, were built right where there were floods even before building.
Among other things, it has been established that the illegal constructions have been the leading cause to most floodings, as some residents have built on top of the drainage system, causing the water to divert into residential homes. This development has saddened the Vice President, who has since directed that an assessment be made and then later estimate the cost that will be involved in drilling proper drainage systems that will bring to an end floodings in the area.
And therefore, today, we feel sorry as a government to year in, year out experience floods. And this is why I'm encouraging colleagues who are permanent workers in government. I hope you understand. Politicians come and they go. That's why when I'm talking to these who work there, they should help to have a kind of permanent plan that should deal with this. And today we have gone around just to see. We can't say we have found a solution, but we are looking at working together, including the people that live in flood-prone areas.
And representatives from the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, have promised that works can be completed within a period of 10 weeks if funds are made available. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
All right, there you have it, the VIP addressing some issues concerning the citizens in the communities. Next in our headlines, we have Patrick Soko with a story concerning the young people that are actually recycling the plastics in Baolene. So this is something that goes to those. We know that there is limited employment opportunities in Zambia, that's for the fact. And so having people, especially the youths, having something to do in terms of recycling the plastic, I think it's something that we need to comment. So this is a story that was done by Patrick Soko from Baolene. Let's have a look at it.
Plastic pollution is a contributor to climate change. Plastic is one of the most persistent pollutants on Earth. It's made to last, and it does often for 400 years or more. At every step in its life cycle, even long after it has been discarded, plastic creates greenhouse gas emissions that are contributing to global warming. Plastic pollution is something Zambia has been grappling with, and the Zambia Environmental Management Agency, ZEMA, and its partners have been promoting the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle, commonly called the 3 R's of waste management. This waste hierarchy is the guidance suggested for creating sustainable life. In Matelo constituency, a group of young people is turning plastic into durable fashion bags.
Into communities, especially in Matero. So we sensitize the women there about the importance of taking care of the environment, and then we train them on how to make these upcycled handbags, how to make this. So once we train them, we've educated them about the importance of taking care of the environment. We ask them if we can collect the plastics from their households, the plastics that they use, at different sizes. This one is like 400 kwacha, and this one is 300.
And in Lusaka's Baolene compound, in Lusaka Central constituency, young people continue to discover ways to reuse plastic. They produce a number of things, such as earrings from discarded plastic to conserve the environment. They have been able to extend training to other youths.
And we're coming up with this creativity, like helping out in reducing waste. And the only way we can do that is to come up with certain arts and crafts that will make people understand that we cannot only use the plastics, like we use it, we throw away, but we can also come up with certain brilliant ideas that we can display in our homes and any other places. So this is one thing I would love to encourage my fellow youths out there, that we shouldn't downgrade ourselves, or rather downgrade the things that we see in our communities. Rather than staying, evolving ourselves into different activities in the community, like drinking, smoking, and any other activities, early marriages, so we can do that, we can do it.
The Civic Forum on Housing and Habitat has been supporting the group in Baolene. Grace Mtonga is the organization's executive director.
Get our youths off the streets. We also want to get our youths from non-productive activities. So we are trying to encourage our youths to make sure that they try to recycle the plastic waste. So as you can see, we try to also encourage them to be innovative. So they make the earrings, they make several artifacts, they make the beans, which they resell, and they have a stable income.
This journalist spoke to Center for Zero Waste and Development Chief Executive Officer Billy Lombe.
The studies show that, according to our latest studies, show that more jobs are created when you take waste to recycling companies and through those means that I mentioned than when you take waste to the dump site or burn it. So we're against burning of waste, we're against incineration in Africa and in Zambia.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
An interesting story there. We see the importance of thinking outside the box. While other people see it as trash, other people have seen a business in it. So next on Zooming the Headlines on the community desk, we have a story concerning two people who are alleged to have been attacked while on buses. So this woman claimed that she was around Makeni area recently, a few weeks ago, and was attacked by a bus driver and conductor. She alleged to have been raped by them. The man also alleged that he had his iPhone and laptop stolen by the bus drivers. So I will take a look at that story and maybe discuss a bit more in depth concerning the same issue. Majority of Zambians use public transport to conduct their daily activities, be it going for work, taking their children to school, going for their businesses, and conducting general activities. While passengers expect public transport to be safe, two Lusaka residents have narrated a different ordeal as they allege that they were recently attacked by bus drivers. The victims, who requested confidentiality, were speaking to Camnet News Monday in the company of Kamwala Ward 5 Councillor Mr. Mainda Simata after deliberations with the police command at the Lusaka Central Police. The man narrates that he boarded a bus at the University Teaching Hospital UTH to Zingalumi around 19 hours on 5th November 2021 when he was attacked by the bus driver in the company of others and robbed of his belongings.
I got on a bus from UTH going to town, and then just a few minutes after getting on the bus, these guys just attacked me. They strangled me by the neck. They started beating me. There were about 4 to 5 people on the bus, and then when beating me, they said asking for my passwords. They got all my passwords. I had an iPhone. They beat me to get my iCloud password, and they dropped me off at York Farm, Chawama.
The woman alleges that apart from being robbed, she was also raped by her attackers.
I got on a bus from Cosmopolitan Mall, and there were two passengers, one in front and one behind. When we started moving, the conductor just removed a torch and a sharp metal thing and asked me to give him my phone. The guy from the front jumped and started hitting me on my head. They asked for all my passwords, my iCloud passwords, and my Airtel Money password. After that, they drove into a dash road, and then the conductor and the driver exchanged seats. And the driver told me to take off my trousers, which I did, and he started raping me. And then the other guy was going through my bag, so he saw that I had cards in my bag and shouted, "Silver period, Selusen." That's how the guy stopped raping me and they dropped me off.
Kamwala Ward 5 Councillor Mr. Mainda Simata has called on the police to take swift action.
We've just come from a meeting with the commanding officer of Lusaka Division. This is in regard to 2 cases where some people have been attacked while on the bus by the bus crew. This happened just recently to one of the people who was attacked on a bus on his way from UTH. He was robbed of his phones and he was attacked and he was dumped somewhere near Chawama. The other case involves a lady who was also attacked sometime in August. Her phone was stolen and she was even raped. So as civic leaders, this is a matter of concern to us because these things are happening on public transport, and this has raised a lot of fear in our commuters because at the end of the day, people do not feel safe boarding these buses. So as civic leaders, as Kamwala Councillor for Ward 5, where some of the victims were picked, I think this is of concern to me, and I've liaised with the police command and they have assured us that they are working on the cases and we hope to see results soon.
Meanwhile, Bus and Taxi Owners Association of Zambia National spokesperson Mr. Amis Dawoodi has called on passengers to familiarize themselves with features of legal bus operators, stating that many bus drivers engaging in such vices are pirate buses as they cannot be easily traced.
So those are very risky, and I would urge travelers to watch out and be able to get only 690 registered buses and taxis. That way they guarantee their rights.
The task remains with the police service to ensure that the criminals are nabbed and security assured to commuters. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. Okay, a sad story there. And we have heard for ourselves from the Bus and Taxi Owners Association of Zambia National Spokesperson, Mr. Amis Daudi. And so he says one way of knowing a legal bus and a pirate bus. He says a legal bus has got a red number plate, it has a fleet number, and if you are getting on a bus from a bus station, make sure it is from a legal bus station and not buses which are not parked from legal bus stations. And so Alex, what do you think about that story?
It's quite saddening. It's quite saddening because you don't tell, really, like you've said, you can't tell. And
you get on buses every day.
Yes. Moreover, that was 19 hours, meaning you are looking at issues to do with conveniency. People are, they want to get home early. So you just get on the bus as normal as it was, because you can't tell this man will do something to me. But it's so unfortunate for the lady, especially who was raped. And you did the story. How was it like from the victim perspective?
I think the victim feels like justice has told. She said this happened to her on 15th August. And so I'm sure it's up to the police now to quicken their speed and investigate the matter.
Exactly.
Okay, so just now we will get joined by Dr. John Kunda, ZESCO Senior Corporate Affairs Manager, will join us for an interview concerning ZESCO electricity issues. What's happening in the country? Does Zambia expect an end to power outages anytime soon, and various topics? So feel free to call our phone lines. The numbers will be scrolling there on your screens. And just as we received Dr. John Kunda, we're going to have a story on power outages to see what has been happening in the recent weeks concerning electricity supply. Many Zambians earn a living through small and medium enterprises, SMEs, ranging from hair salons, welding shops, butcheries, and other electricity-dependent businesses. However, some residents of Lusaka have expressed displeasure at the continued power outages the country has been experiencing, which have increased with the onset of the rain season. Many parts of the country, including some parts of Mutendere, Kaunda Square, Helen Kaunda, and Matero in Lusaka, have reported power outages which have lasted for 2 days now, bringing a disruption to their economic activities.
Business kaida pa malaiti mwanga mwaendera pa malaiti business kwankala kulibi mwaona ero tichita rendi balando ndazafuna ndrama so ni problem wafuni kwaita kwa benzero wa ZESCO mama anaendera na maji so tibe malaiti ndiyo mnyumba zaonongeka mafriji ya chita ya sunguluka customers so hapa kuliba kungo bwerero malaiti kulibi ero ni mama nthendi anotifuni kopeleka ndrama kuli landlord maji apeleka kuti zachosa kuti ndrama kulipa komeza tilipenda ene help ya kuti tinga zapeza pa ndrama kuti tipelekele kuli landlord kulipa.
My business had slow kai kulipa my rights my business manga saluni atifa by fact ndio ma fridge zaonongeka kai ndio my assist affect my rights ya kongoro.
The power utility company ZESCO says the disruptions have been caused by trees which are fallen on transmission lines, as well as short circuits brought about by the heavy rain the country experienced on Wednesday. ZESCO Public Relations Manager Ms. Hezi Uzulu says while the power utility company is trying to rectify the problem, it is currently overwhelmed.
I want to assure you that we have actually come up with a number of teams. Remember I said that it's a lot of areas that have been affected. So we have come up with a number of technical teams, our engineers. They've gone round in many. Ensure that you report. If you have an outage, make sure that you report. I received a lot of calls, and mainly it's because people didn't report. So make sure that you pick up the phone or even use other alternative platforms that we have to report the faults so that our team can quickly come through and manage the situation. I must admit that as a corporation we have been overwhelmed with the number of outages in many areas. So please bear with us if our teams don't come as quickly as expected. It's not because we have sat back, but it's because we are going around in all the areas to make sure that we resolve the issues that have emerged.
Residents, however, have called on the power utility company to find permanent solutions to the same, stating that the situation is the same every rain season. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Welcome back. You have it there, the outage in terms of ZESCO, a story done by Zipporah Mshala. Here with us we have Dr. Kunda, who is the Corporate Affairs Manager at ZESCO, and you'll be able to interact with him. We hope you'll be contributing and also asking him questions. concerning what's going on in your communities across the country. Dr. Kunda, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes,
I hope you're having
starting a good day. No,
Yeah.
it's a lovely Tuesday. Looks promising.
Sure, sure.
It has to be productive.
So I did some background check
Yes.
and also some research.
Yes.
That the number 13 is something that, you know, threatens your... We'll talk about the past 13 days.
People talking about 13.
Yeah.
The myths around these numbers.
Yeah. What gets in your mind concerning the number 13? Maybe just to start on that line.
Nothing much. You know, numbers are just numbers.
Exactly.
And myths are just myths. So that I believe we outlive in a
Sure.
way. So
Yes.
I'm a scientist. So, and
So for those who be not aware of the number 13, that's why we had a lot of happenings in terms of ZESCO. So that's why the doc was like, 13 has been so overwhelming for him in terms of ZESCO. So get to be interacting even as we discuss various issues concerning the ZESCO in community. Zipporah.
Okay, feel free to call our numbers on the screen there. We'll be popping up every now and then on the screen. And maybe basically, Doc, just to begin the topic,
yes.
People have been wondering what is the current state of the Kafue Lower Gorge.
Okay.
After we saw the Patriotic Front launching it, but then we heard various stories saying it's not fully operational and others. We want to get clear information from you. What is the actual status of the Kafue Lower Gorge?
Thank you. So the Kafue Gorge Lower is one of the biggest investments in the power sector. It is 750 megawatts and at a total cost of 2.3 billion. So there are 5 machines that are supposed to be installed in the entire plant. As we speak today, 2 machines. You remember in October last year, we commissioned one. Then the other one came online thereafter, this year. We have another one that should be coming online sometime here in December. We have 5 machines, and we are expecting all the machines to be fully operational by March. So the 2 machines are running, and they're generating power, and they're injecting into the national grid. So that's the good news, Zipporah, I'm sure. So the rumors are wrong that it is not operational. So it's there. People are free to visit, to see. It's a marvel, because it's one of the biggest investments since the last investments, you know, almost in 1977. So it's a huge project. In fact, the 2 machines that are running are already servicing the loan that was used to procure and build that particular plant. We're also working on 2 major lines, one from KGL through the multi-phase economic zone, the south one, coming through to Leopard's Hill. That is also being worked on. So we have a transmission line project. There's another project that is running through Kafue and Shimabala to Lusaka West substation there. So the works are active and they are ongoing. And there are other works that we can talk about here in Lusaka. The ones that people are referring to, that load shedding will not end by 2020.
I was just coming
so
to
we
that.
can talk about those.
There are a number of projects that ZESCO is embarking on in terms of just developing and also securing the electricity in terms of power outage and everything.
Yes.
But then just what you touched on, the rumor going on to say load shedding is expected up to 2023, somewhere there. How true is that?
I did, you know, the person who wrote that story and posted it on QTV, QFM as well, I did call him just to find out where they got the story from. They were also not sure where they got it from.
Oh.
Yeah, so the true story is that first we didn't issue a statement to that effect. It's not from ZESCO, it's somebody who decided to come up with that story. And they are the only ones who can answer where they got the substance from. But the truth is that, you know, we are upgrading the infrastructure in Lusaka. Because these outages, believe you me, whilst they are isolated outages in some parts of the country, once in a while in Kitwe, you know, for other reasons, the ones in Lusaka are mainly due to massive infrastructure works that are being funded by the European Investment Bank and the World Bank. Since 2014, these projects have been running. This is to upgrade the infrastructure in Lusaka. you would agree with me that the population of Lusaka continues to grow.
Exactly.
People are building.
Exactly.
Compounds are expanding. So in expanding the capacity of the generation of electricity, we also needed to continuously expand the transmission and the distribution lines.
Yes, yes.
So when we announced that we were switching off people for 3 days, it is exactly injecting new life into the infrastructure. You know, it's like you want to upgrade the suspension of your car. You can't be driving it whilst you are upgrading it. You know, you need to park and work on it. So it's the same with electricity. The substation that is being worked on at Roma is one of the biggest substations in Lusaka. It's being upgraded from the small old one to a new one. So in order to switch the equipment from the old to the new,
needs to get off.
You need to switch off people.
Yeah.
You know, I know people should get upset when you tell them that. Say, but why? What is Zimia? And all
it's
that.
natural.
Yeah, it's a natural instinct.
Yeah.
There is something about electricity where even when it just goes for 2 minutes, we receive a lot of calls. Yeah, then as you are talking to them, then they say, oh, Yabuera, okay. And they cut the line. So electricity is quite emotive, and I understand the frustrations that people have to go through. But we must admit that the infrastructure is old and dilapidated. And
we have a caller. Good morning. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Come again.
Livingston.
Yeah, Green from Livingston.
But Green.
All right, your contribution, sir.
Yes, I have a problem with the ZESCO, especially with point.
With him?
With what? Come again? The pause. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Because the point,
A fault.
They will say they are coming, if we specify that saying they are coming within 3 hours. But they will not come.
Okay.
They will not wait after 3 days.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the problem. I don't know how it can be sorted out.
Yeah.
We have ended up as saying ZESCO has become so inefficient.
Yeah.
There is no longer any response.
Yeah.
What area is that exactly in Livingston?
It's in Livingston. In Livingston. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your contribution, sir.
Yeah.
Now, just once more.
Okay, go ahead. Your line is breaking. Mr. Greenford? Mr. Greenford?
I think you've got his point. So he's concerned about
is worried about the response rate of customers. So he's saying sometimes when they report a fault, they would say we are coming, but then it takes 3 days. So the service level agreement is that we should do it within 48 hours, right? And he's right. That's one of the major challenges that we have in terms of fault resolution.
Okay.
Sometimes we take longer to identify a fault than resolving it is easy. But identifying a fault, especially if it's a cable fault. So I was working with our engineers here in Lusaka. Just wanted to take interest. So I visited them to see. It took almost 2 days for them to identify a fault on an underground cable. You know, and the customer was getting impatient, especially around Avondale area. So I took one customer, I said, let's go together so that you see what our teams are doing. Because you may think this is just PR. So I went with the customer on the ground. We were with her from about 8 to 16, and we still couldn't locate. So they started digging the cable now, which was about 20 kilometers, to identify, because the scanner couldn't reveal the exact spot where the cable fault was. You know, until the 3rd day, that's when they identified the actual, and it couldn't show on the scanner. So after they resolved it and they put it together, you know, she went and gave the team some drinks, and she said, you know, if I didn't see this, I wouldn't have appreciated what you guys do. Someone called me, I had a fault at home, and this young man, Kefas Musonda, called me around 01:43. You know, he came to my place. He didn't know I worked for ZESCO. So he came and worked on the fault. He completed his work around 02:15.
You didn't tell him that you are...
No, I didn't tell him that. But when I went to the office, I got his details and I called him to the office, because that level of dedication must be rewarded and must be respected. Some of our people work overnight. Someone wrote a letter, a stinker to ZESCO, that why do your people call us at midnight when they are coming to resolve a fault? Why should they be calling us at midnight? Why can't they wait for the following day? So we receive a mixed bucket of complaints.
Yeah.
Others are saying, you don't disturb us.
Others come immediately, right now.
Others, believe you me, others actually refuse you entry into their properties, especially in Chisamba area, where these are farming areas. Yeah. And the poor is right in the middle of people's properties. They said, we are not allowing you, come tomorrow.
And so
everyone else suffers and insults ZESCO in the end.
Yes, yes.
So his point is correct. We need to improve our customer response time. Sometimes it's as a result of inadequate human resource on the ground, especially when you have a lot of faults. Sometimes at the beginning of the rainy season, we do get a lot of sparks. People reporting on sparks at the beginning of the rainy season, and the reason is known. It's because of the friction that is caused during the dry season, and then it produces carbons on the joints. So when the rain falls there, it begins to cause sparks. So that is likely to happen. But our response time, we can do better. He's right. I agree with him. I'll relay the feedback to our customer service team.
Yeah, I think there's need just to be explaining these things to them as you are working on.
But it's 48 hours.
We have a caller.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
My name is Mwila.
Mr. Mwila, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling you within Lusaka.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution or your question.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
Thank you, sir.
A few days ago,
yes,
I can't remember exactly when, maybe a week or so.
Yes, sir.
Ago,
yes, sir.
we had an incident, unfortunate incident, where power went in Zambia.
Where?
And then in Zambia.
Mr. Mwila, just
in Zambia. Okay, Zambia.
Oh, he's referring to the
yes, he talked about Zambia. Yes. The entire one, the entire Zambia.
Power went in Zambia.
That was, yes, on Saturday, 10th.
Yes.
It was on Saturday.
Then, the explanation we got.
Yes, sir.
That problem actually triggered another related problem to Zimbabwe and South Africa.
Yes, okay. Yes, sir. Yes.
For me as a citizen,
yes, sir.
I have a lot of interest in that.
Please, sir. Please.
That kind of report.
Yes, sir.
It's something that I would want to find out exactly what is going on.
Please come and see me. I'm inviting you to my office, and I'll respond here as well. But I can confidently tell you that it emanated from the interconnector linking Zimbabwe and Zambia from the other side. They pushed in 600 megawatts into our system. It wasn't otherwise. So
I was about to come to that.
No problem, sir.
Out of my own interest, I found that actually the problem was the other way around.
Correct, sir.
So my question was to you.
Yes,
why
sir.
do we allow ourselves to be painted black?
Correct, sir.
When you can actually come out and state the position as it is.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We need to protect our image.
Correct, sir.
And
I'll respond to it.
Because if you look at the initial report, it doesn't paint a good picture about them. And very few people who know exactly what transpired.
Correct.
But actually the problem was not a Zambian problem. It came from the other side.
Yes, sir.
Who issued the statement.
Yeah. No.
Thank you, that's my concern.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for contribution, sir. And so, Dr. Kunda, in answering that question,
yes, ma'am.
Maybe you should also answer this question. There have been concerns from stakeholders.
Yes, ma'am.
Saying sometimes there are power outages out of the scheduled time.
Yes.
And so, do you feel like maybe ZESCO needs a competitor? Is ZESCO overwhelmed, or maybe is ZESCO overwhelmed? Are you up to the task? Yes, which will not feed into the national grid. Do you need an independent competitor?
Okay, so I pick up the first one, the question that you raised. You remember we issued a statement where we made it very clear. We said that the power outage was caused by an external surge from the interconnector linking Zambia and Zimbabwe.
Yes, yes.
We made it very clear. So because we belong to the Southern African Power Pool, investigations were conducted at that level, and South Africa has been communicated to. as well as Zimbabwe, and we are expecting them to issue some statement of some sort to clarify what transpired, because we maintain our position which we issued, that it was external to Zambia. So he's very right, but sometimes when you're dealing with international relations, you need to realize that this has a political dimension. You don't want to start fighting people at that level. Now, you raised an important question.
Yes. Do we need
a competitor?
Yes.
I want you to know, and I want Zambians to know, that the electricity market is free for anyone. Anyone can start a company to generate, transmit, and distribute power. It's open. It's now open up a market. But no one so far wants to come in.
Come on board.
No one wants to come on board, right? It's not, ZESCO doesn't prevent anyone. It's not ZESCO in charge. The thing is that anyone can start a company even today. Even yesterday, you can start a company. The market is open. The big question is, why aren't people coming into the space to start companies in order for them to run businesses? That's the question we should be answering. And ZESCO is surviving under very difficult circumstances. And no one wants to ask those difficult questions. That's the first question. Number two, we have private companies in Zambia. Do you know that?
Yes, we do.
Producing electricity. Yes. But do you know that those companies don't want to sell to you as a customer?
Directly.
They feed into the national grid.
No.
They actually sell to ZESCO.
They want to sell to ZESCO at a higher price.
Yeah.
Then ZESCO tiolas, ZESCO tiola mtengo.
Yes.
It cuts the price in order to sell to you. Those people, some of them were selling power to the customers on the copper belt. Then they realized it was not making sense.
No profit.
They handed them over like a hot stone to government. So the issue, ZESCO wants competition. But we also want conditions that are private sector like. Because there are certain decisions we can't make on our own. We are regulated. It's the only price where ZESCO cannot set the price based on market forces. Someone else has to set the price for ZESCO.
Maybe, Doc, just to go back to Mr. Mwila.
So
He mentioned something very sensitive. He said, why do we have to paint ourselves black?
Yeah.
And that sounds intentional. Why does ZESCO try to produce information that might not be there?
No. We produced accurate information. And our information, the press statement we released is that the power outage was caused by an external force. We made that and we published it, right? So when South Africa internally produced their statement, we are not obliged to respond to their statement per se, because we are regulated by the Southern African Power Pool. They are the ones that do conduct the investigation, and they made conclusions, and then they communicate to the member countries. So then the member countries are urged to correct their record. Because it's a diplomatic now relationship at that stage. So not John or Hezo Kapata would simply wake up and say, let me respond to South Africa. No.
Is there regular maintenance at that level, the Southern African Power Pool? Is there regular maintenance?
Yes. That's why these maintenance works are critical. And I agree that we should have done this work a long time ago. We should have been investing consistently in upgrading the infrastructure, right? The infrastructure is now old. So what the team is doing is that they are removing old infrastructure and replacing it with new infrastructure. We are creating what they are calling a ring around the city of Lusaka. The reason this has to be done is to ensure that there is stability and consistency of power supply. If we don't do these works, the future is going to suffer. Someone else in future is going to suffer with inefficiencies. So yes, we admit that there was little investment. But now that our partners have come on board, like the World Bank and the European Investment Bank, and are supporting us, this is the time to do it. That's why Lusaka, we come back to you and say, Camnet, next week on Tuesday, we are going to switch you off in order to change that line from Leopard's Hill. Right? Because we're also creating another line from the other side coming through.
Okay. And how long is the new infrastructure?
Those works are ongoing until 2023.
Okay, let's just attend to a caller. We have the caller on the line.
No problem.
Hello.
Hello,
yes,
good
madam,
morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
You are through to come
morning,
breakfast show. Tell us your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from
Kanakantapa, yes. Okay, I know that place.
What's your contribution, madam?
The problem is, last year, my pause,
My pause, okay. Okay. Munachita report?
Tunachita report.
Okay, mulina complaint number? 6. Okay, but muliko na meter number muna using kuchita report?
Meter number
Mungati passe kwa meter number ninga checking using the meter number.
Okay. 013
013
212
399 39.
So that's 01 32 12 39 93 All right. Thank you so much, madam.
Okay, can I count up what?
Thank you very much for contribution.
Yeah, there was also a report of somebody with a tipper truck that he hit into one of the poles and dragged it and also pulled 12 other poles.
Right there in Kanakanta.
It's in Kasisi Road. I don't know exactly where, the special point.
Okay.
But he was carrying sand, building sand. And then another one, I think with a small vehicle, hit the pole on the Kabwe Road. Again, that supplies from Chisamba into... So Avondale did not have power, and Kalundu and other places because of that major fault. So sometimes, because our network is overhead, we need to improve on communicating with people much more. But the problem is if we start sending you text messages because of the feeder, all of you will be receiving text messages because if one house loses power in an area, we don't need to send messages to everybody. And then there is no way we will tell that that particular house has lost power. So sometimes you find that certain faults are caused, like for example, a tipper truck rams into our system, or a canter on the other Kabwe Road. Sometimes it's when people, like in Kwamwena, people have stolen 4 hammered cables. And we don't know what happened. You know, a 14-year-old boy gets electrocuted in a substation because he was puncturing the cables in order to steal, and people are taking him there, and those people disappear. So vandalism, planned maintenance works, and some accidents are likely to cause power outages. So, but we have to continue upgrading the infrastructure. And as you upgrade, somebody was saying, but Wakunda, in European countries, they work on a line when it's live. Yeah, there are certain levels of efficiencies that can be done. But the first thing is you must build the infrastructure. And building the infrastructure is critical.
The workers from Zisco can't manage working on a live?
No, there are certain things they can work on. But if it's a new line, for example, a transmission line from Leopard's Hill that brings into Lusaka, that's the one you need to change. You want to change it. You
just what you thought, Doc. We have a caller.
No problem.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Tell us your name and where you're calling us from and your contribution.
Thank you very much. This is the Musonda calling you from Kitwe.
Kitwe, okay.
Yes, Mr. Kuno, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Yeah. I think experiencing this load shedding now, yes, my question is direct to Mr. Konda.
Yes, sir.
What is the challenge? Because we have changed in the previous government, so we not changed, but we saw
yes.
The investment, every investment in the power sector, especially this school.
Correct, yes.
We saw a lot of hydropower stations being upgraded.
Yes.
And others commissioned.
Correct.
And also creating other ones.
Correct, yes.
Now, what is the challenge for now? Are we still having the same challenge we had in the past?
No.
Or is it a problem that you are facing, for example, by vandalizing your poles and you...
We might have missed that call.
He has raised an important question. Mpundu is raising an important question. In terms of generation, we are okay, even as we speak, right? So generation, we are okay. We've invested heavily in generation, and we are hoping that as we complete KGL...
So maybe, but since we're dealing with community desk, generation, what do you imply for layman's language?
Generation is ukupanga malite.
So
generation is ukupanga malite. Yeah?
We are good.
So it's from the machines that make electricity from water. Yes, that's generation.
So on that note,
sometimes you make electricity also from solar and from wind. Sometimes from steam using coal. So sometimes it's nuclear. So you can make electricity from various sources. So in terms of making electricity, we are okay. Now, the last 15 days, we experienced some challenges which were accidents, and we announced. So for example, generator unit number 3 was overheating at Kafue Gorge Upper. The bearing was overheating. It was in excess of 76 degrees. So our engineers decided to take it out in order to work on it. At the same time, there was a malfunction on one generating unit number 4 at Kariba. As if not enough, our friends who are private sector, Mamba Collieries, had a challenge, so they took out the one machine on annual maintenance. Ndola Energy, who also do supply us power, all their machines are not working as we speak today. They are not ZESCO, they are private sector. So the challenge is, people say, ZESCO and problems. But that to a private sector, my machines here, they are down sometimes almost half the year. So what is your challenge? Why simpanga malite? So the question that he has raised is important. Why then are we facing a challenge?
Yes, Doc, you also, just maybe to cut you also mentioned something critical in terms of vandalism. And you are on record complaining about the cables and everything. The issue is, there seem to be market for these cables. Would you just clarify why we have so much of such activity, and where do they take these cables in terms of market? Okay,
before I come to this one, I wanted to conclude what could be the challenge. Copper belt generally has been stable, except for those 3 days when we had those machines that were taken out, where we experienced, we announced on 25th August to 7th November that we were going to manage in the evenings at peak periods as we were repairing those machines.
Yes.
So the problem was not with our capacity. We have enough water and all that. So the problem was that these mechanical failures were real.
I remember last time you even mentioned saying we're operating on excess electricity, isn't it?
Yes,
we had an interview saying.
We do have excess.
So does this mean with the upgrade of the infrastructure? Okay, can you give an estimation when we have when this upgrade is complete? For how long can the country go without any power failures and all that? Okay, so I'll finish
the other question. So the issue is that the outages that we are experiencing in Lusaka are different from other parts of the country. Lusaka is because we are upgrading the infrastructure.
Okay.
And sometimes we have to switch off people in order to put a transmission line from a major substation. There are 4 substations which we are using to create a ring. So you have Leopards Hill, Roma, Coventry, and Waterworks. These are being upgraded. And when you're upgrading a substation, sometimes there are certain critical equipment within that you need to put in, and you cannot work on it when it's live. Right?
Yes.
It's just like a car. There are certain things you can't work on it. Basically, you have to park. They can't work on the wheel and all that. Yeah. That said, right, vandalism is another big problem that we've been facing. And as you've rightly pointed out, there seems to be a market. In Chingola, in 2 months, we lost about 10 transformers. Just in 2 months. There are people who go at night with a chainsaw and cut in one of the areas in Ndola, cut our poles, about 5 of them, using a chainsaw, in order to bring down the poles, the system trips, and then they get some of the conductors to go and sell as scrap metal. As much as we'd like to guard all our infrastructure, guys, we cover the entire country, 754,000 square kilometers. We can't guard everything. We depend on the community to help us. The demand for this is various, but sometimes what they are doing is that when they steal those cables, they burn them. And once they are burnt, it's difficult for you to identify that this is your cable or your cable. And then they sell them to people who melt the cables and create other cables for sale. We are zeroing in. We've arrested a number of people. One sad encounter for me was when we arrested a parent with his 2 boys. For me, that was heartbreaking. A father with his 16-year-old and 21-year-old son. They had removed cables from a substation, burnt them, and they were going to sell them. So they were apprehended, and they faced not less than 15 years in jail. So you can imagine that is a distraction of a family. So when are these works? First and foremost, let me tell the people, we are going to switch off people when we have to maintain the NER system. That will happen. I can't promise people that we'll never switch them off. That would be a lie.
That's not a promise.
When you upgrade the infrastructure.
Just hold that thought.
Not a problem.
We have a caller. Good morning. You are through to Camnet. You are through to Camnet Breakfast Show. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes, my name is Ampande.
Ampande.
Calling from Minwood, Chamba Valley.
Minwood, Chamba Valley, yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Oh, there are issues there. Yeah, it's true.
I've got a problem.
Yeah.
I've got a problem.
Yes, sir.
I've been making this follow-up with Kapata for some time since last year, but no avail.
You have a complaint number?
Yes.
What's the issue, sir? And give me the complaint number.
If you can get this number, it's P2034.
Come again?
P. Oh, that's a connection. Yes. Okay, that's an application for a connection.
Okay.
P.
Okay. P. What's the number?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
P2034.
Yes, sir.
6.
Yes.
That's all?
P2034.
Yes.
20.
Yes.
200 79920.
So 2020. So you applied last year.
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yes.
You applied last year.
It was in 2020.
Yes. Okay.
I applied for a visa separation in Kapiliposhi. I own a house in Kapiliposhi.
Okay.
Yeah, on the 6th of August 2020, last year.
2020, yes. I've taken note. I can tell that.
I paid 770 kwacha.
Yes, sir.
On the 2nd of September 2020.
Correct, yes.
Everything is okay. I'm just waiting. They've been telling me different story after another.
Get his mobile number. I think it will be easier to follow up with.
Yeah. Okay, just
you can
give
send
us your number.
They haven't collected me. Please assist. I've been calling Mr. Kapata.
Send them.
So many messages.
Sir, send your number.
You can send a message to the number that's scrolling on the screen and we'll get back to you.
The house is in Kapiliposhi East Park.
What's the number? What's your mobile number? What's your mobile number?
Your mobile number, sir?
Your phone number.
My phone number is 0977.
Yes.
6250.
6250.
Yes.
Go ahead.
0977.
Yes.
6250
721.
Thank you. We'll get back to you, sir.
Thank you so much.
So connections are a problem. They take long. They've taken long for many people, and there's a backlog. So he's right. So you can even tell that he applied in 2020. So I'll find out what the status is on his particular application.
Doc, we need to conclude.
Not a problem. Did I answer the questions?
And another issue maybe is some houses. There have been a number of houses, like in the past 2 weeks, about 2 houses, we did the stories here, getting gutted due to short circuits.
Yeah.
So what's your response
on that issue? So normally when a house catches fire, you report to fire brigade. And usually they come. So they'll conduct an investigation and they'll give us a report. So fire brigade is the first one. Then ZESCO Limited comes in as well. They also conduct their own assessment. Right? And then the owner of the property is supposed to fill in certain forms in the regional office. Right? So then once those reports come in and the investigations are concluded, then we engage the owner of the property. If it is determined that the ZESCO was wrong and this problem emanated from the ZESCO system, there are cases where we've compensated people. But when it is determined that it was inadequate protection mechanisms by the owner of the property, then unfortunately they don't get compensated. But I also advise people, is your property insured? I have insured my property. Just to make sure that you put in place, take regular audits of your installation in the house, to make sure that the integrity of your wiring and everything else is still safe. But the first people to investigate is the fire brigade under Lusaka City Council. We also come in, and then they fill in certain forms at the ZESCO office. So it shouldn't be a protracted issue. It is a known procedure, and we just advise our clients to do that. But please make sure you use a qualified electrician, conduct regular audits on your property. If you've been living in your house for 5 years, maybe it's time for you to ask an electrician to run through your wiring system, ensure that the cables is yanashurike, and there are no major leakages, so that the integrity of your investment is safeguarded.
In as much as ZESCO is given a responsibility to provide service to the residents and the community, the people also have a responsibility, and you've been calling for a switch of agenda. Maybe just to say on that remark. In terms
we are
of
always telling, we tell our customers that, you know, electricity is a two-way marriage. It depends on supply and demand. So all of us have a role to play in ensuring of stability of the system. I was driving here in Kalikiriki during the day, and the lights are on. During the day, security lights are on. What do you want to see? You know, even in the house, when you are not using certain rooms, make sure you switch off your electricity. Because that way we create stability and we create access. But if you're just because you pay for it, and you say, I pay for it so I can leave the lights on during the day, it's okay. It's not okay. We have to take care of the common good and the common interest. So I can only appeal to our customers, let's work together. Let's be energy efficient. If you have a challenge, we are supposed to respond within 48 hours. Yes, sometimes we might have gone beyond 48 hours, and we apologize. But this is your company. Any person is allowed to open a company in electricity. People are not coming in because certain things need to change, so that if Mr. Banda wants to come into this industry, he must know that if I go into that industry, I'll make money.
Okay.
In the current state of infrastructure and the supply system and the environment, it's not attractive to private sector investments.
Doc, it's so good that we have tackled a lot of
And I feel like it's a hot topic, so I'm sure we'll invite you very soon.
We are available.
Because I feel like many people still have questions out there. Yes, we'll invite you very soon.
People's Company will be here to respond, no matter how hot. We are here.
That's a good assurance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And so right about now, we're just getting ready to welcome Mr. Shadrack Mwanza, Kalikiliki Ward Independent Councillor. And so we'll take a look at a story concerning floods in Lusaka. So the topic will be on floods in Lusaka, and Kalikiliki compound is one of the areas that has been affected by floods. As we get ready to welcome him, we'll take a look at a story concerning floods in Lusaka.
Rainfall is perhaps the most important factor in defining climate. Excessive rainfall can cause flooding and enormous property and crop damage. Still, a deficiency in rainfall can cause drought and crop failure. Rainfall is also the major source of energy that drives the circulation of the atmosphere. Just like other parts of the city, this time around, the people of John Howard in Chawama constituency are feeling the effects of excess rainfall, which is leading to some flash floods. Prior to the rainy season, the people warned of what would happen once the drainage system is blocked by the people who are trying to allocate themselves land on the dam that has been serving as a drainage system. Fast forward to today, their fears have come true. The people in this locality are failing to cope with the floods.
Investa nayo bwanji maka ife mole manzi. Investa nayo bwanji manzi ya koma bomu witianga ni lepo jamu mama kinga jamu investa bwanji
maybe ba kansela or ba MP banawana marungu amene kuti mwarungu muzapita 2021 bawana because like this how can you pass bamdana zone ungapite bwanje muri sungapita so bamunama lungu bamunama lungu ro bakono so bacho bane bari na surrounded bacho bamunama Yangana ni mafurahi sana. Zona bamdana. Orovoti mkapase ndani voti.
But when he reached for a comment, Chawama constituency Jona Ward 3 councillor Kafula Mutale urged the residents to be responsible and desist from dumping waste in the drainages, further urging the people to take part in the construction of drainages.
So my appeal, my earnest appeal to the residents of Zone Ward is that let's do our own spoon drain from where we stay, because this needs community engagement, because it's us, the community, that are feeding the pain. So let's show leadership, let's own the project, let's do the spoon drain into the main drainage. That's one. Two, let's avoid throwing garbage in the drainage, the main drainages, like along the road, like you mentioned yourself. However, as a community, and through my ward development committee, we've started going around trying to re-engage, re-sensitize our people on the importance of a clean environment.
And when questioned about the dam which is being blocked and used as a dump site by people wanting to allocate themselves plots, Mr. Mutale says the activities do not have the blessings of the council.
That is supposed to be a drain site for the same water you are talking about. Whoever dumps there is doing that at their own peril. The only designated dump site in Lusaka is Chunga. That's why I said let's pay to the CBD, because once they collect that garbage, they take to Chunga. Whoever is found dumping garbage at that dump is doing it illegally, and is usually apprehended, and we take them to the police. So that's not a legal dump site, no.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
And now on the show, we're joined by Mr. Shadrack Mwanza, Independent Kalikiliki Ward Councillor, and we're going to talk about the issue of floods. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mwanza. Hope you're having a good day today.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so very much.
All right. So I'm aware that Kalikiliki is one of the areas that really has an issue with floods. So can you just tell us what is the real problem? Is it a lack of drainages? What's happening there? And is there any help for the people? What's actually the issue in Kalikiliki?
Okay. So thank you so very much for your question. You know, Kalikiliki, first to start with, is one of the neglected, has been the most neglected ward in maybe in Lusaka, because number one, drainages are very poor, roads are very poor. There's no clinic, there's no school, there's no training skill centers. So it is one of those wards that has been neglected, for the past years. Yes, the issue of drainages is actually there, and the drainages are very, very, very bad. In fact, we have no proper drainage not even a single drainage in Kalikiliki Ward. Yeah, sure. So the issue of drainages, when it comes to rain season, it causes a lot of fracas and pandemonium in the ward. I'll give an example of what transpired recently when we had rains. A lot of houses were flooded. Mm-hmm. I'll give an example of a certain stream, because there are about 3 streams in my ward. Number one is Kalikiliki stream. So there in Kalikiliki we need a Bombay drainage. So I think you know that Bombay drainage. We need a very long drainage that, and also before putting up a drainage, because we have where people have built, it is a place where there used to be a stream, or maybe a little bit of a dam way back. So what they've done is they built alongside the dam. That's where they built, or maybe close to the stream. That's where they built houses. So as a result, when we have heavy rainfall,
the affected. Yeah.
The houses, everything is submerged, and such disasters.
You are in the office of the ward councillor now.
Yes.
What do you feel should be done in terms of addressing that issue?
Okay, number one, just like I said, we need drainages. Like we have 3 streams in my ward. All they need, you know, Bombay drainages. So, you know, coming in with, the proper budget that was just recently, the medium budget that was recently announced, I believe and I'm confident that come next year, this Bombay drainage will be put in place.
Okay, when you talk of the budget, you are specifically talking of the CDF.
The CDF.
Which I'm getting to and let me just have an understanding. How do you know, involve the community themselves? Because it's called Community Development, Constituency Development Fund. So how do they participate in this development themselves?
Okay, so number one, we have community leaders like the WDC. So the WDC, we choose people from the community to help the running of the ward. Okay, so we choose, for example, the chairperson comes from the ward, a secretary, there are about 10 people, 10 members that are in the WDC. Okay, so these are the people that help the running of the ward, to help the councillor. Exactly.
What's the criteria of having those 10 individuals?
10 individuals, the criteria is having voting. It is voting for them. Office. Yes, they're elected.
So do you communicate to the residents? Do they know the criteria and how to get into
yes,
the
exactly, they do.
They do know.
Exactly,
okay,
sure.
And maybe basically, when these people face disasters, is there any help from the disaster management and mitigation unit? Do you see any aid coming through from this body?
Okay, to start with, when the disaster happened, because I have my boss as well, so I communicated with the area MP, Mnali constituency. So he told me to say he communicated with the DMMU because he's my boss. I report to him. So he gave me a feedback. So after reporting to the DMMU, I never saw any help coming through from the DMMU. Having seen all that disaster, you know, because the people that are homeless even up to now, I only managed to help maybe a few people, a few individuals that were completely down. Because all the, you know, it's like people just started life afresh. There was a lot of disasters, houses, you know, falling, fences, you know, property. They lost a lot of properties, documents, but I never saw any help coming from the DMMU. I took it by myself because as councillors we are given an allowance of 3,000. So what I did was I just had to top up. On top of that 3,000, I topped up something, and then I bought food, cooking oil and some foodstuffs to at least, you know, assist them just for a little start. So I took it by myself, not the DMMU. The DMMU, not even
up to now they are
up to now, and maybe more than 200 houses were affected.
That's a lot of people.
So exactly. I'm sure they're hearing, and I am sure they will act on the matter, because this is an issue that happens year by year, and you know that as long as there are floods, there's going to be disaster, and I'm sure maybe that should be more like a wake-up call to the DMMU to know that every year we'll have these disasters and they should prepare for them.
Exactly.
I'm curious, Mr. Councillor, how do they survive? We've told us that you sacrifice 3,000 on top of your money that you have, but for these days, how are they sustaining themselves?
You know, it's quite hard to, you know, to say it, but you know, by the grace of God, I think maybe they are just living by the grace of God, because there are people that are homeless currently as I speak. I only managed to assist 2, because as a councillor I'm not properly empowered to assist. If I had that capacity of assisting everyone, I would have done it. But unfortunately, my capacity is very small. Just like I said, we are given an allowance of 3,000. So I had to sacrifice. You know, I have a family as well. So if I had that capacity to assist everyone, I could have done that. But the solution, the best solution for me is, I don't know why they've been delaying, because you see, the DMMU has been assisting know Kalikiliki very, very well, and they know what actually transpires when it rains. So they are supposed to be in a position where they prepare themselves even before they receive a call. They have to know to say there's always disaster in Kalikiliki. For many years, it has been transpiring for many years, but the DMMU this time around, they failed to come through. Okay, that's so unfortunate. So I was very, very disappointed that the DMMU never even showed up, not even any interest. They never showed any interest. So the other solution is that those people that are along the stream, I think we need to plan for them. I think the proper plan, I was rehearsing with my MP, those people, they have to be relocated for now. Okay, even before we have serious rainfall, those people have to be relocated. They have to be taken, for now, they have to be taken elsewhere, because there are families that lost property, they have nowhere to go. So they have to be relocated. And this was supposed to be done immediately after, the rains occurred, after the disaster. So, and as we wait for permanent solution, and the permanent solution is, number one, is to compensate those houses that are along the stream. They are ready to be compensated. They're very much ready. The reason why they fail to move out of that, those structures, is simply because they have nowhere to go. Those are the only houses, we have no plots in Lusaka. Those are the only houses they have. So they have nowhere to go. They have no money to pay rentals because they have a house. So if the government can actually come in to say, no, you people, we have a place where we can take you to, or maybe these houses that are along the stream, we are going to compensate them all, so they can demolish them and do a proper drainage. Those people should be taken elsewhere for their safety. Sure, I think that's what I think.
So it's a show of making sure that areas where houses will be built have adequate drainages.
Exactly.
Flood areas.
Exactly.
So since Kalikiliki, independent Kalikiliki ward councillor, maybe another issue, I heard you talking about the lack of land in Kalikiliki.
Yes, exactly.
No land to build a clinic, hospital. So maybe what do you think should be the way forward that the government should adopt to address this, to help these people? What's your comment on that?
Okay, so to start with, the only land which is not ours, Kalikiliki, has been taken up. So the only hope we have is on the
by taken up you mean
there's no it's field. Yes.
Okay, so there's no land.
And the land that is only there, the farms that are there, number one, there's a land for OP that is called Transmitter, that is just nearby Kalikiliki ground. There's also NRDC College. So if the government can come in through our able MP and the Minister of Lusaka, Minister of Lands, if they can at least come through and assist or maybe speak with the intelligence, at least they should give us a portion of land out of the transmitter, even half of it, at least where we can put a mini hospital and a school. And also, this is a bush that is being used for different activities. Okay, you have thieves, people, attacking. There are so many things that are happening here in NRDC. It seems the institution, or maybe the institution is not, making use of the land that is there because it's too big. So if the government can come in and actually negotiate with us, with the NRDC, with the NRDC officials, at least to actually give us just a small piece of land where we can put skills training centers, as maybe a primary and secondary school, even a mini hospital, it can do. At least these places, Transmitter and NRDC, these are the only places that we are relying on. Apart from that, there is no any other land.
Okay, so
and Kalikiliki, as just like I said in my preamble, Kalikiliki has no school. Has no clinic. The only clinic that is there is just a mobile. They close as early as maybe 15 hours. And it's very small. It's very small. Very, very small. It doesn't run 24 hours. We need a hospital, mini hospital that runs just like Baoleni. If they are able to do it in Baoleni, why not Kalikiliki? We need a clinic that can run for 24 hours.
You've submitted already this, and how has been the response so far?
I haven't been given a response. I wrote letters to different institutions, including the intelligence.
Even the NRDC management?
No, with NRDC management, I use other people to do that.
To push the
So,
okay.
Exactly, sure.
Okay.
And I remember I did a story there in Kalikiliki where some women were saying if they are about to give birth, they have to walk for a distance of about 1 hour. And if it's to go to Kalingalinga. And if it's at night, they're saying they get attacked by the community gangs, also known as junkies. So I'm sure maybe that's something that really has to be worked on going forward. Exactly. And so feel free to call up on the numbers that are popping up on your screen. because this is your show. It's a community show, and so you can let us know what issues you'd like the government to address, things that are happening in your communities. And just right now, we have to say our concluding remarks because we're about to finish the program.
Yeah, maybe just to bring everything in circle. I would like just to make an appeal to your people in terms of patience, because these are the issues that are affecting them, and you can maybe have a bit of panic mode among the citizens. So what message do you have for the people in Kamiliki ward?
Okay, the message that I have for the people, it's not easy to be voted in as an independent councillor. In Lusaka people don't vote for independent candidates. So it is a very great privilege. It's because those people trusted in me. They put me in power, in order for me to deliver. So I want to tell them that's the reason why when there's any issue, I'm always availing myself. Just recently, we are removing garbage from the compound. There are so many things that we are working on, but the number one issue is the issue of drainages. There is poor drainage. You find somebody has built. I was dealing with just the day before yesterday. I was dealing with issues at meetings where people have built where the drainage is where water is supposed to pass. So there are so many. So I'm engaging the Lusaka City Council on those issues that are very, very, because there are people that are even failing to comply. They're saying, no, councillor can't tell us what to do, because they're forgetting to say a councillor is a chairman of the compound, is there to mediate or maybe to sort out issues even before they go any further. So I want to rest assure the members of, maybe the residents of my people in the ward, to say I'm very much available. My phone is 24 hours. You can call me anytime. I'm ready to avail myself. And all I'm asking is that, the new Dawn government, I'm working with the new Dawn government because I have confidence that our president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, my MP, and everyone, including the mayors, they'll deliver. More especially our president, he has a very good plan for us. All they need to have is patience. Okay, they need to have exercised a little bit of some patience, because the government is still putting books together, and the budget will be ready next year. Because there have been people that have been troubling me, no budget, whatever, no, can you do this road, can you do that? Currently we have no money because the budget we are using is odd. Exactly. So our budget will be ready next year. This is when they'll see these projects happening, more especially the issue of roads and drainages. We cannot start constructing roads, third roads, right now, because we are approaching the rain season, including the Bombay drainage. We have to wait for the rains to come. That's when we can begin some of the projects.
Great.
I'm confident that the government of the day is going to deliver, and I'm part of the government of the day. Sure.
Thank you so much for that assurance to the people, especially those in Kamiliki ward. We've been on the community desk this morning with various, obviously, guests that we've had so far, Dr. Kunda from ZESCO, and also the councillor, Mr. Shadrick Mwanza. Zipporah, how has been the shows altogether as we wrap up?
I think the show has been very interesting, multidimensional, and I'm sure our viewers out there still have a lot of questions, but also giving them an opportunity to send us messages via the lines that are there, and tell us what issues they feel are affecting the communities, issues which they would like us to handle here, because this is a community show and it is for the communities out there. So until next time, see you then.